An American mother has sparked a huge debate in the States by branding the behaviour of the children's character Peppa Pig as bratty and bullyish. A lot of people agree with her, but some might argue that it's just typical, cheeky, childish behaviour we see from Peppa that we'd expect from any cartoon character.
Or any four-year-old. An example of the heroine's behaviour is shown in a popular episode where Peppa gets upset about her inability to whistle and phones her friend Susie Sheep to get sympathy. But when she discovers her friend can whistle, we see Peppa hang up. It's bad manners.
Just funny. Influencer and author Brittany Belinsky agrees that Peppa Pig is a bad influence and she's actually banned her kids from watching the show. While the podcaster and dad, Lewis Oakley, whose youngest children watch the programme all the time, says that Peppa Pig is just being a realistic four-year-old toddler. That's how they are. You obviously feel very strongly about this. Give us the worst example that you watched before you pulled the plug on Peppa, that you thought, right, that's it, I'm not having any more of this over my kids.
I think literally every episode shows negative behaviour, not something that I don't want shown as a role model for my children. So actually, my children have never watched Peppa Pig.
They've never seen it?
They've never seen it.
You've pre-screened it.
So I'm really selective over the shows that my children watch.
That doesn't look like the worst example.
No, and I think the show in itself has got lots of negative stereotypes and lots of negative behaviour.
Well, give us an example. We've seen one example there. Give us one that you want.
So the dad is often considered to be, like, fat and lazy, and those words are used on the show, and it's not some language that I want my children to have in their vocabulary, and I also don't want the show to give them any acceptance of those behaviours.
But isn't the good thing about a show like that, if they do start calling Daddy fat or something like that, that's then a teachable moment to say, we don't talk to people like that. And I think that's the good thing. I don't want to really shield my kids. They're going to see this behaviour in real life. And I think that if their behaviour becomes something that I'm not happy with, then they learn Daddy's not happy with that. Yeah. And, you know, I don't want to show them some sort of sanitised version where everyone's well-behaved and it's just unrealistic. So that's not how four-year-olds behave.
Because showing that hissy fit there that Peppa has when she realises that her mate can whistle and hang out, I think it's really funny. But you're not actually necessarily endorsing that behaviour by showing it. You're just reflecting that that's how some people can behave.
Well, exactly, and it's probably why it's popular, because kids see themselves in there. Four-year-olds aren't perfect. I can attest to that.
The senior vice president of Hasbro, which is who produced Peppa Pig, says that she is a confident young girl, empowered to speak her mind and express how she feels.
Those are all good attributes.
Yeah.
However, there is so much negativity in the show. It's just not a good role model for children to have.
That's so interesting, because watching that, it just seems sort of charming and cheeky.
That is true, and while I totally agree that these are teachable moments, I dispute that parents are going to put in that time. Parents do tend to lean on TV as an educator in isolation, and I can't imagine that there are going to be many people that are going to debrief their child around or at the end of the show.
Susanna was telling us all earlier that when her little boys were growing up, they used to watch Horrid Henry.
Yeah.
And they
became Horrid Henrys.
And they became Horrid Henrys.
Yeah, well, for a short period of time after. But I didn't ban it, though.
Okay.
I just realised that actually...
I think it's really great that you realise that, because there's been incidences in our house as well where I have permitted them to watch. You know, I don't restrict them in the sense that I vet everything.
No.
But what I have noticed is when they've watched the show, after a few weeks or months, I've gone, I'm not enjoying this behaviour from you, and that's when
I thought that was typical boys' behaviour. And, in fact, the author of Horrid Henry's been in touch.
Francesca Simon, she rang in and she's told us, look, unsurprisingly, I think naughty characters allow children to safely explore and experience the thrill of misbehaving without real-life consequences. Adults enjoy crime fiction, for example, for the same reason. That's a good point, isn't it?
That is a good point, but I think that show is aimed at older children, whereas the Peppa Pig audience are 2 to 4-year-olds, and at this age, children are very impressionable.
Well, it's staying on in your house, isn't it, Lewis?
It's staying on in our house, and I think my kids, within reason, can watch what they watch, because the other thing is you can't force your children to be interested in something. They either are or they aren't, and my kids now are at the age where they will ask and they will tell me what they want on. And so it's, OK, fine, you can have
they
that.
They are 18 and 19, aren't they?
No, they're little children, aren't they? 3, 1 and 14. Yeah. Right, thank you both very much indeed.